You are here for a reason. Something inside you has led you to this moment. Perhaps you were searching for answers. Perhaps you encountered a situation where your kindness was not appreciated. Do you feel like the world is unfair? That people around you don't always reciprocate the respect you show them? Why does this happen? Why is it that the more you give, the less you are valued? You are not alone in feeling this way. This is a reality that millions of people face. Kindness, contrary to popular belief, does not always inspire gratitude. Sometimes it is perceived as weakness, taken for granted, or even met with resentment. But why? Why can your sincere altruism, your care, your honesty lead to a loss of respect? Carl Jung spoke about the shadow side of the human psyche, the part we do not consciously acknowledge but that influences all our actions. It is within this shadow that our true motives, suppressed desires, fears, and insecurities lie. And if you're kind, if you do not set boundaries, if you are always ready to help, for some people, this will not be a sign of strength. It will be an invitation to take advantage of your kindness. But don't rush to the conclusion that you need to become harsher. Shut yourself off from the world and stop being kind. No. The point is not to stop being a good person, but to become conscious of your actions. Kindness without boundaries is a ticket to a world where people will exploit you. But kindness combined with reasonable limits makes you stronger and earns you genuine respect. The more you give, the less you're valued. This is a paradox that many people face. You want to be helpful. You want to make the world a better place. You want to help. But the more you give selflessly, the less people recognize its value. Imagine someone who is always there, always ready to help, always supportive. It becomes expected, ordinary. People stop seeing it as something special. They simply take it for granted. There is an old truth. People value what requires effort. If your attention, care, and help are always available without any conditions, they cease to be seen as a gift. They become something expected, and when something becomes the norm, it loses its significance. But this does not mean you should stop being kind. It means you should consciously choose to whom and when you give your energy. When you indiscriminately pour your kindness onto everyone, sooner or later, you will find that people start seeing you as something they are entitled to. Jung argued that every person has a shadow, a dark, hidden side of their personality that they try not to acknowledge. And when someone sees your boundless kindness, they may not perceive it as an act of conscious choice, but rather as a sign of weakness. This does not mean that all people are evil or selfish. It simply means that many react to what appears convenient to them. If you do not set boundaries, people will start crossing them. If you always say yes, sooner or later, you will be used. If you never speak about your own needs, they will simply stop being considered. The world does not always reward those who give the most. The world rewards those who know how to balance kindness and self-respect. Think back to moments when you helped someone but received not even a simple thank you in return. Recall the times when your kindness was taken for granted. Why does this happen? Because people become accustomed to what is always available. If something is given without struggle, without effort, without limits, it starts being undervalued. But there is a solution, and it is not to become cold and unapproachable. It is to recognize your own worth. You are not obligated to give everything away freely. Your kindness is a resource that must be used wisely. Learn to say no where you are being taken advantage of. Learn to choose those who genuinely appreciate your support. Learn to distinguish between true gratitude and manipulation. And remember, respect does not come to those who are willing to sacrifice themselves for others, but to those who know how to combine strength with kindness. Being a good person does not mean allowing others to walk all over you. It means recognizing your value and protecting it. What happens when you realize your worth, when you start setting boundaries, when you stop allowing others to use your kindness for their own benefit? Many of those who are used to your limitless generosity may begin to show irritation. They won't say directly, "I don't like that you've started standing up for yourself." No. Instead, they may accuse you of being selfish. They may say, "You've changed." But what do they really mean? That you were once convenient for them. Understand this. People who truly respect you will never be upset by the fact that you've started respecting yourself. Those who genuinely value you will accept your boundaries, but those who are merely taking advantage of your kindness will feel like they are losing a free source of emotional or physical benefits. And that's when their true attitude towards you is revealed. Carl Jung said that people project their unresolved inner conflicts onto others. This means that if someone is offended by your independence, the problem is not with you. The problem is that your new, more confident self-image disrupts their familiar perception of the world. They can no longer use you as they did before, and it forces them to confront their own weaknesses. But here's what's important. Don't fall into the trap of extremes. The goal is not to become cruel, indifferent, or closed off. The goal is to find balance, to be kind, but not allow yourself to be used, to help, but do so consciously, to care for others, but not forget about yourself. Accept the fact that you don't need to please everyone. This realization is freeing. The moment you stop depending on external approval, your life changes. Think about how many times you've done something just because you were afraid of disappointing someone. How many times you've agreed to uncomfortable requests just because you didn't want to seem rude. How many times you've allowed someone to belittle you just to avoid conflict. But who said you have to be convenient? Who said your value depends on how much you please others? Jung wrote that true personal growth begins when a person accepts their shadow, the very part of themselves they have suppressed all their life. For many people, this shadow is their ability to say no, their right to be heard, their inner strength, which they have hidden out of fear that others might turn away. But here's the paradox. When you start respecting yourself, others start respecting you too. When you stop being afraid of being inconvenient, people begin to perceive you differently. When you value your time and energy, people begin to understand that access to you is something valuable, not something to be taken for granted. Think about the people you truly respect. Are they the ones who say yes to everything, or are they the ones who know their worth? Are they the ones who sacrifice themselves for everyone, or are they the ones who can balance caring for others with caring for themselves? True respect is not born from self-sacrifice, but from self-respect. When you give, but with awareness of your limits, when you're kind but do not allow yourself to be manipulated, when you're willing to help but do not tolerate disrespect. But what if you're already in a situation where people take you for granted? How do you change that? First, start small. If you're used to always agreeing to everything, try saying no just once and observe the reaction. If a person respects you, they will understand. If they only care about their own benefit, they will start pressuring you, blaming you, manipulating you, and that will be a clear signal of who they really are. Second, Stop apologizing. You do not have to explain every decision you make. You have the right to say, I can't. This is inconvenient for me. This is not for me, without long justifications. People who respect you will accept this without question. Third, start giving yourself as much attention as you give to others. You support others, but do you support yourself? You care about someone else's dreams, but do you nurture your own? Your energy is a resource, and if you give it away endlessly, sooner or later, there will be nothing left for yourself. Jung said that becoming aware of your shadow gives you control over your life. The shadow is not evil. It is your inner strength, your ability to protect yourself, your voice that you have suppressed for so long. And when you accept it, you become a whole person, a person who cannot be ignored, a person who is respected. So if you've ever felt unappreciated, if you've been used, if you've been taken for granted, know this: you don't have to stay in that role. Kindness is not weakness, but kindness without boundaries can lead to a loss of respect. Remember that you have the right to be heard, the right to set boundaries, the right to be respected. And the moment you start doing that, the world around you will begin to change. The people who truly value you will stay. Those who were just using you will disappear. And that's okay, because your energy, your time, and your life deserve to be spent on those who see you not as a source of benefit, but as a unique, strong individual. Remember, respect starts with you. It does not come from the outside. It does not depend on other people's opinions. It is built from within. And when you truly respect yourself, others will inevitably start respecting you too.